welcome to All My Daemon Children, a Quest Friends Halloween special where we are doing just another podcast, but on our feed. I am here with Aaron Cateno-Saez from All My Fantasy Children.
Indeed.
A world-building character creation podcast. Hello there, Aaron.
Hi. I'm very excited to be doing this. I love making silly characters and then realizing halfway through that this is actually good, and then we deep dive into it.
Yeah, if that isn't the way all world building happens. You make something silly and then suddenly it's not anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what we're going to be doing today is pretty much what Aaron does it's weekly, right?
Yeah, sometimes. You know, when we can. When we can make it weekly, we can, but we always have a strong policy of life comes first. So if you can't make the episode, you know, it's not pay for content, it's free. So we do it based on a life, if life allows it program.
All right, so in that case, what we're going to do today is what Aaron does every episode. That's just another way of phrasing it.
It's a good way of phrasing it.
What Aaron does every episode, where we are going to take a listener prompt and we are going to spin it into a fully fleshed out character.
Dang right.
And because we don't have a world right now or a main campaign world to create things in, we are actually going to embellish a little bit more on that Halloween world that we have explored in the past 2 episodes. So we'll discuss the prompt, and then from there we'll talk a little bit about what we know about the world of the Daemon Saloon so far, and then we'll move on from there.
Sick. I'm very excited.
So we took 2 prompts today, and we're going to meld them together. Our prompts come from Eddie F19, Eddie Feely on Twitter, who gave us multiple prompts, and the ones we're going to use today are Wrong Mailman and Final Dad.
Love it.
Are these the same man? Are they different men? We don't know. So before we discuss the Wrong Mailman and or the Final Dad, let's talk a little bit about the world as has been established in the past Daemon Saloon episodes. So the Daemon Saloon is, as one might guess, a saloon. It exists within this foggy forest known as Tremaine Bluffs. Now, Tremaine Bluffs has a whole bunch of lore established with it, which we aren't going to discuss, because that lore was in a series of Halloween episodes that were never released. So really all we know about it so far is that it is some spooky woods that people just find themselves in. It's one of those woods you don't know how you got there, and you definitely don't know how to get out. Within these woods is the Daemon Saloon. The Daemon Saloon is owned by a man named Victor Daemon. He is a vampire man of indeterminate power. Over the course of our episodes, he has been able to stop episodes and directly talk to the audience. He has directly talked to me and forced me to change the canon of the fiction. But at the same time, he has been surprised by certain events that have happened. And he definitely got trounced by like a level 3 spell in his first appearance. So what he can do and can't do hasn't really been established. Some things we do know, though, is that his world exists different from the canon. He appears every Halloween or close to Halloween on a yearly basis, and he seems to understand the flow of time similar to how we do. He seems to have understood that it has been a year since his last appearance. However, those who come in are following their own timeline. Like, I think chronologically, the timeline for characters between the first 2 Daemon episodes is, I want to say it's like a week or 2 weeks at the most. It's not a whole lot of time. Other things we know about Victor and his saloon is he seems to, at least in the first one, he had some sort of weird lesson he wanted to teach everyone. Questionable whether or not that was actually a useful lesson, but he tried. He has at least one assistant named Ben, who is a goblin who works in his big tower. And he's got just a series of generic Western medieval fantasy kind of folks, which will now have a Wrong Mailman and or a Final Dad added to it.
Excellent.
And yeah, that's pretty much all we know. That's honestly a pretty long summary for 2 episodes worth of lore, but we're going to add another one that may or may not appear next year. We'll see, but we're going to flesh it out a little bit nonetheless.
Yes, we are. So we're kind of going to run this in the vein of All My Fantasy Children, which is kind of going to be, we discuss ideas that we have off the top of our heads and combine these ideas and kind of form little details one at a time. We're going to roll a snowball and eventually it'll pick up some steam and become a giant snowman or a dad or a mail carrier. So yeah, I'll ask you, what are your initial thoughts about, let's start with the wrong mailman. Like, what's the first thing you think of?
So my first thought when I think of wrong mailman is I think about how everybody in the Daemon Saloon, Tremaine Bluffs, and by everybody I mean our party members who have gone there twice, has gone there by mistake. It is not someplace people go intentionally. So I'm really focusing on the word wrong there, and how having someone who is wrong, a mailman who should not be there, who is at the wrong address, is somehow fitting for a place like this, is somehow right, if that makes sense.
Okay. So it is a mail person, as a mailman that shows up at the Daemon Saloon, yes?
Yes.
And who was not supposed to. So initially, that to me is very horror movie. You know, the pizza delivery driver shows up at the address and is like, hello? Like the very driving up to Dracula's castle, but to deliver the mail. You know, and you're like, wow, it says it's 666, Vampire Drive. I don't know, I'm just here to deliver it. Like someone delivering a package to Dracula's castle is my first thought. But it's the wrong address. Something got fudged on the ledger, something got fudged, and they have to now deliver a package, perhaps, to the Daemon Saloon, aka, for metaphorical reasons, Dracula's castle.
Absolutely. Which now has me thinking, the Daemon Saloon exists outside of the universe, essentially. It is crossing across.
It's like a pocket universe?
Yeah, because it's crossing across multiple universes. Like, it hasn't interacted with our season 2 universe yet, but it will.
Okay.
And so my first thought is, it's a mistake to him. It's his wrong mailman. Is it a mistake to Victor? Or I guess what I'm thinking in a more general sense is, where does Victor get his mail from? Like, is he ordering delivery from across the multiverse so he can just get what he wants?
My initial thought is yes. Because if you said it exists outside of kind of like it exists in all universes, kind of, right?
Yeah.
If we're thinking multiverse and there's a place that's kind of like a nexus point and it's the Daemon Saloon, that means that yes, you could get mail delivered from across the universe. And unfortunately for these mail carriers, it's a one-way trip. Do they ever come back? You get your mail delivered and then you just pull from another universe to get another package. But it's not like do they ever leave, is what I'm saying.
That's a good point. Because, yeah, in our previous episodes, the only characters who had left were, main party characters or directly related to them. And they had to fulfill some quest. In the first episode, they had to, I forget the details. It was something like they had to basically experience through each other's souls.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
They had the body swap. And in the second one, they defeated a threat that was threatening the multiverse. And you could argue that was essentially some sort of test that was set up. But if, as you had set up, these mailmen are by virtue delivering to the wrong address,
yes,
they can't get to the address they're going to have to deliver to.
No. And
so they can't really, unless Victor intentionally sets something up, they can't really get back. He just has a building full of mailmen.
Yes. So yes, essentially what I'm getting from this is if you are a mail person and you're delivering your mail to the Daemon Saloon, you're you're being basically pulled into the space beyond universes and to accidentally, you arrive at the castle or the saloon. The only way to get out is by basically imagine if a mail carrier was going through Castlevania every goddamn time. And so like not everyone comes out, but that is why. So what I'm suggesting, if I can make a big pitch, you can shoot it down if you want.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
That the wrong, what is it? The wrong mailman?
Yeah, the wrong mailman.
The wrong mailman delivers, this is the first person to ever be pulled into, the first male person to be pulled into the Daemon Saloon, the first courier to ever cross through the Daemon Saloon, goes through the Castlevania thing and finishes it, gets out because they are indeed. This is also perhaps the final dad.
That's what I was thinking as well. Like if we've brought up this idea that you have all these mail carriers who are getting stuck.
Yes.
I'm trying to think of what if there was somebody who became the dedicated mail person, the dedicated mail carrier who gets into this dangerous, harrowing job.
Yeah.
And likes it?
Yes.
And like feels they
were made for this.
Exactly.
This was their destiny. Like I'm imagining This person is just like, has their earbuds in, is delivering the mail, gets pulled into Victor Daemon's saloon and is like very cliche. The Daemon saloon, I'm imagining, is like on a cliff, lightning is crashing. The camera pans and we see their back of this male person and they're looking off into it as if they're about to enter Castlevania. And they shine a little quick smirk as if, you think this is going to stop me? It's almost like Victor Daemon fucked with the wrong mail carrier because I was made to go through dungeons and puzzles. This is what I was. This is just my job, but I'm basically Simon fucking Belmont from the Castlevania series, and I am ready to wreck house. Like, this is the final I'm going to be back to see my kids. I'm going to be through this castle in an hour. And then eventually, perhaps some kind of synergy, some partnership, some symbiosis is formed between the two entities, Victor Daemon and this final dad. This just becomes their gig of every single delivery smashes through the perils of the Daemon saloon, delivers a package in his home to be the best dad in the world.
And has been established. I just feel bad. The door thing is what really gets to me, because in the first Daemon Saloon episode, one of the characters had an ability called Fling.
Mm-hmm.
And Victor Daemon, he has lots of little goblins who work for him. Ben isn't the only one. But just like the final dad is the only mail carrier who makes it through, I have a feeling Ben is the only goblin who makes it through, because in that first episode, someone used Fling on the door.
Yeah.
And just crushed all of the other goblins.
Oh, no.
Just completely. And let's say they go on sick leave or something like that. But now I'm just imagining, like...
Have you ever played a Castlevania game?
Yeah, I played a little bit, and I played a lot of the spiritual successor that came out a few years ago.
Yes. So you know how if you change screens and reload and the enemies respawn?
Yes.
I'm feeling it's a very that vibe at the Daemon Saloon, where every time that's why it's like, I think the wrong mailman is from a point of view of the goons of the Daemon Saloon who are like, oh no, we fucked with the wrong mailman.
I love it.
Where they're getting rocked, and he is also the final dad because he's just, he's just got kids and he's got to head home after his shift. And that's just what happened. When Victor Daemon, needs an electric toothbrush delivered, in comes the only motherfucker who can handle the Daemon Saloon in like an hour and be back to watch Dancing with the Stars with their children. And that's the final dad. And then to his kids and to him, he's a final dad. But to the goons of the Daemon Saloon, to the Medusa heads that, and the goblins and all like the peons, that's the wrong mailman. Oh no. You almost hear like, or ding dong. You're like, oh shit, it's the wrong mailman. Like, that's what I'm imagining. And then everybody is like, battle stations. All because this person wants to deliver a toothbrush and is just carving through this dungeon, this keep. And then it's like, here's your toothbrush, Victor. And like just exits out.
I'm glad that he's just from Texas.
He's just a guy. He's just a dude who has this otherworldly power. This is just his motherfucking day job. I'm just trying to collect my paycheck, go home, hang out with my family. I don't do this for glory. I find no joy in killing these goons and destroying these like little peons. It's just what I got to do to deliver this package. Takes pride in his work.
So now that you're saying this, I figured out what the plot of next year's Halloween special is going to be now that we have a party member. And I think this may give us a better idea of what the final dad is like. Because I'm just imagining, did you ever watch the Rankin Bass movie A Year Without a Santa Claus?
I have not. Wait, The Year Without a Santa Claus?
Yeah.
Is that the one with Heat Miser and Snow Miser?
Yeah, that's the one with Heat Miser and Snow Miser.
Yes, I do.
The one where Santa just gets sick.
Yes.
And can't do the job. Now I'm just imagining, and this will probably be the Halloween special next year, I'm just imagining what happens when the final dad gets sick.
Oh no, you gotta do that job.
And someone else needs to make the delivery.
And you gotta go through Castle fucking Vania just to do such a menial task. And if you weren't made for it, you are essentially the wrong mailman because you are not designed for this job. This motherfucker, I feel like, what is this person's name? Can we name the final dad?
Yes, we can.
Best dad, like, has a bracelet that just says best dad ever, like that their kids made. And it's like, just little beads.
All I can think of, because I was like, what is like a name that fits that? And my first thought was just Hank.
Okay, but can their last name be something ridiculously fantasy vampire hunter?
Absolutely.
Let's brainstorm some vampire castle words. I have like steak, garlic, moonlight.
There's, whip, fang, spear.
Oh, something with the sun, because the sun blows away vampires, right?
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
So definitely something like with a sun imagery in there. Oh, okay. Hank Bright Dawn.
I like that.
Hank Bright Dawn. It's like everyone like, but Victor Daemon is someone who I don't think would tell the underlings that they ordered something.
Oh, absolutely not. He would never.
It becomes just a living nightmare of you hear the doorbell. You know how dogs sometimes go like absolutely bananas when the doorbell rings? It's very much that because the goons know what fucking time it is. And it's like, oh no, it's Hank Bright Dawn. You just ordered something, Victor. No, is it the twice in 1 week? I just respond. I just imagine
Victor being like, I don't know, just like in his vampire voice,
at the last minute I had to order, like, at the, oh no, same day delivery, like that kind of, like,
oh God.
Like you just hear from the other, someone overhears, same day delivery. Here, oh shit! Like everyone grabbing their weapons and like standing at the door, sweating. Goblins in their armor just dripping with sweat, shaking and trembling. It's fucking coming. Hank is coming, and Hank is very impartial to this whole experience. I feel like Hank is just very.
It's just his job.
Yeah, he's just whistling while he works. What is? I have a very important question for you. What weapon does Hank use to carve through legions while like texting? Like, can't wait to see your faces. Daddy's almost home from work. While like, oh!
It's gotta be single hand.
Of course.
Because
gotta text.
My first thought is like, and we can probably embellish from this. My first thought was just gun. And all I can think of is like,
no, we can do better than a gun.
Have you ever seen Supernatural?
No, I have not, but I'm going to Google this. What's the image that I'm Googling?
So they have a cult in the TV show Supernatural that can basically kill demons, and it only has 8 shots, but it keeps getting more every single time.
Oh, the cult. Hold on, let me see. So it's just a fucking gun. No, I feel like
I know we can.
I feel like we can do better than just a fucking gun. Just fucking, I don't want the visual of Hank rolling up and literally going postal on the Daemon Saloon.
Okay, all right. Let me look up weird weapons.
Or, I mean, I'm thinking very vampire hunter weaponry. Like, what's a traditional vampire hunter weapon that isn't Simon Belmont's fucking whip?
That isn't a whip or a stake.
Yeah. Is it barehanded? Is this person using like, fist weapons? Do they have like a cestus or whatever it's called?
A cestus. I have to, let me look that up.
I think that's CESTUS. I've used those in online games before. Yeah, it's just fucking gloves. It's just work gloves.
Oh, the lion. I can see like one with like a lion face on it.
Yes, he's just so. This is a martial artist. This is someone who's like bare knuckle brawling through the castle.
Absolutely. Can we add a little addition to this weapon though?
Absolutely.
Because there was something I wanted to pitch. So, and I can see it could like fit on the tongue of this like little lion thing I'm seeing.
Mm-hmm.
Is because when you said same day delivery. All I could think of is like those drones that Amazon wants to use for delivery.
Yes.
They just put the package in. And so now all I can think of is drone dog.
Okay.
Just like a hunting dog that someone would go with.
Oh, I like it. So he has a buddy. So Hank is not alone.
Yeah, Hank has a buddy. And like, so I was imagining like part of the weapon could be within the weapon. There's just, he puts it up to his mouth and he whistles in. And the dog knows it's time to go.
Can I make a pitch then? Because what we're making is essentially like Hank doesn't know he's a legendary vampire hunter. And he just never pursued that path. So I'm thinking this is like a familiar that's been bound to him his entire life. But he just kind of treats it like a fucking dog. Like this is something that could like help him kill Dracula if he wanted. Like he is Simon Belmont. If Simon Belmont was like, no, I just want to have like kids and work and have an honest living. But he has all the accoutrement of like he can learn magic if he wants. He has a spectral dog familiar, like has all these, has basically a summon. But it's just like, oh yeah, and I walk it every morning and, I give it treats and it lays on the couch with me. That's the visual that I'm getting for it. Can the dog have a name that's ridiculous, like a very fantasy name?
Oh, absolutely. Because when you said summon, my first thought was like, you go to bed, I make sure all the lights are off, I read bedtime stories to the kids, I speak the forbidden words to make sure the dog stays around.
Yeah. I have to, I make the contract with the dog so that it stays for another couple hours before I go to bed. It's all very, like, he lives a vampire hunter lifestyle, all without vampire hunting. He just goes to work, he takes a shit, puts his pants on like everybody else one at a time. He's just a dude. However, he's a vampire hunter.
I thought of a few things. So I was looking back at the prompts we had.
Mm-hmm.
And so the word just Pandora appeared on my thing. When thinking of sun words, I also thought of Helio,
Ooh.
which isn't a full name, but it sounds like a dog name almost.
What is it?
Helio was the name.
Okay, that's an incredible dog name, and it's the sun. So this is wonderful because, of course, it's called Helio because he's literally designed to kill vampires. But he doesn't. That's the very specific thing. He has never killed a vampire, Hank Bright Dawn. Hank has only carved through like it's as if you play Castlevania, get to the door before the final boss and turn the console off and then leave, walk back out the front door. Like Victor Daemon is like on the computer and would get absolutely rolled by Hank Bright Dawn, but Hank Bright Dawn's like, packages here, Mr. Damon, and then leaves.
His quest, like all vampire hunters, is to get to the vampire. Like that is still his goal.
Yes.
So he's not that off at all.
He just doesn't finish. He just doesn't do any of the violent stuff to Victor Damon anyway.
Absolutely.
I think he just thinks that like he's there to deliver a package, and he doesn't think that Victor Damon is like a bad person or a vampire or anything. He's like, God damn, why is everybody jumping me as soon as I enter this castle? Jesus Christ. Like I get absolutely jumped every time I show up to this place. Whatever. Like, ow, you hit me first. I'm going to come here. Fuck.
Just a slap across the face.
Yeah. And I imagine like his work, he essentially thinks of what's his weapon? We need a name for this weapon.
Okay, so we got Hank Bright Dawn. His dog is Helio.
It's called. Can they be called the Lightbringers? The Lightbringer gauntlets.
The Lightbringer gauntlet.
But they're just his work gloves. Like he uses them to like open the back of his truck. But they're a legendary holy weapon against vampires.
Yeah, it reminds me like those gloves that you use for that you sometimes put on when you're doing yard work so you don't get splinters and stuff.
Yes, they have paint on the hand. They're like blue on the hand. He has painted them. He's like, God, these fucking gauntlets don't have any grip on them. I can't do any of my work. So the Lightbringer gauntlets have actually like blue paint on the bottom of them to help with his grip.
Absolutely.
He has modified them to be more like work gloves.
He's done the thing where you like he's drilled a little hole in it so he can just hang it on the wall. And like when he did,
yes.
Spirits of the damned, like thousands of them poured out, but like he didn't notice. He just hung it on the wall.
Yeah, he just threw Daddy, and hold on, let me take my work gloves off before I give you a hug. Just throws like this weapon against the wall. They slide into a bin.
You hear just a faint scream, just
comes out of the laundry bin. I love Hank Bright Dawn so much. I love that he's just a person, but he's so much more. He is the final dad.
I'm just imagining like the kid for show and tell. Like in 5K, do they bring the glove? Do they bring the dog?
Bring my dad to work day? Bring your dad to work day. What are your dad? I'm a delivery person. Holy shit, you're like the most jacked human being I've ever seen in my life. Yeah, I guess I stay in shape and stuff like that. What do you do? Oh yeah, and I wear these cool gloves. He like punches his palm and like this beam of light comes out and blinds the class, pushes their hair back like, whoa. This is Helio. This is my dog.
The school hamster was never the same after that.
The school hamster was imbued with like divine power that day. Who would go on after that to go on adventures? Because of course, like Hank has like, what is classified typically as like divine abilities. So like if, he shakes the teacher was feeling sick that day, Hank shakes his hand and is like, hey, good morning. Immediately, the illness is cured and he lives 10 additional years onto his lifespan. Hank is just overall like the greatest paladin who's ever lived.
I'm just imagining like in his regular everyday life, he's just a guy who's accidentally creating Monster of the Week scenarios, but they always happen after he leaves.
Yep, of course. That's why, I mean, he is the final dad. There will never be a dad like him that comes out. Whoever inherits the Lightbringer gauntlets will be close, but this is not the same. It's not the same. Hank's the guy.
I'm trying to imagine one time where, because Victor Daemon has, at least in the episodes he's appeared in, he's been a friendly guy, a pretty friendly vampire. I'm trying to think of like one time he actually invited Hank in, like just to hang out and be a pal before he goes back, and it was just incredibly awkward, and it's never happened again.
Well, awkward from who? Was Victor awkward or was Hank awkward?
I feel like Hank would start it, because I feel like Hank would be like, I'm just doing my job, stuff like that. Thinking of you don't get personal with the customers.
No, I just want to go home. Like, can I just like the longer I'm here, the less I get to be at my house type thing. And Victor Daemon, I think, like invited him in and is like, oh, sit down. And he's like, okay, all right, wow, it's a very impressive collection of baubles. Cool. Can't wait to get the fuck out of here.
Because like he's a legend to everyone else there, and like Victor, when he invites someone into his saloon, it's a big deal. They get a whole episode devoted to that.
Yeah.
But like if it's longer than the cold open for the adventure of Hank's life, it's too long there.
I could not agree more. Where it's like, did not sign up for this, but oh wow, a lovely kitchen you have, I guess. Wow, this is very interesting. Oh, you have a slideshow to show me? Oh, wow. Yeah, I'll sit. And he's like checking his phone the whole time. And Victor Daemon is like, are you interested? And he's like, oh, yeah. Sorry, I was just texting. I was checking Twitter. There's drama going on. I like to follow the drama. Anyway.
Yeah, Victor's just sitting there like, this is the time Misha Jarvis ate an entire calzoon. They stopped a spider cloud from destroying an entire future planet.
Hank is like... His subtext is, oh my God, I don't fucking care. Oh my God.
I've started a podcast about it.
So Victor Daemon asks Hank if he wants to guest on his show, and he has the awkward moment of, I'm actually just really busy. No, you don't even need a mic. You don't even need a microphone. You can just, no, I'd be, that's really great. I'm just really busy. I know your delivery route. You're actually not busy.
You only
have one place to go. Yeah.
And this all started when Victor intentionally bought something to give to Hank as a gift.
Yes, of course.
As a delivery.
It was like he wanted to hand deliver him something. Oh, I actually have something for you too. And Hank is like, okay. He is very like, something that always annoys me about the cliche vampire is that they expect everyone to be excited to see them or like interested in them. Like they enter a room and are like, hello, sit down, and like are like the hostess with the mostest type thing. I always imagine someone being like, dude, I don't fucking care. Like, welcome to my cat. Where are you going? Like that kind of thing. Oh, the bathroom is right over. Okay, you already found it. So anyway, welcome. They have like Hank for most of their conversation still had his earbuds in.
Oh,
what? Oh, I'm sorry. What? Oh, you see, this castle is that. Sorry, what? Hold on. Opens Spotify very slowly. Hits pause. All right, go ahead. Well, no, it's not the same now. Okay. Just ruins all that charisma, that whole Victor Daemon spark. Just wasted on Hank. Hank doesn't fucking care. Oh, God. Hank Bright Dawn. You're my favorite human alive.
Just trying. I'd say his best. He's just doing what he needs to do.
Just got, from his perspective, this is just like, he thinks it's a great job.
Oh, of course.
And he's like, this is easy. Like, my job is super easy because this is the only job he's ever had. So he's like, I don't know, like it's physically demanding at times, but by and large, it's really not that bad.
Hank Bright Dawn joined the postal service, but then with a random incident gave him the powers of the gods.
I think, was he born with it, or is this something that like, okay, question for you. Did he inherit this power from the postmaster that came before him, or was he just born to be Hank Bright Tower vampire hunter?
I really like the inheritance, and the reason I like it is because when it comes to like, someone has the ability to gain fantastical powers, I've always seen the approach done one of two ways. Either, the typical approach, like the Green Lantern, I'm going to take this and live up to it. Or, you see the approach of people who see that and are like, nope, not my thing. Nope, absolutely not. Let's keep walking. And they actively try to avoid it.
Yes.
This runs the really fun middle ground of, I will accept this,
but I don't want this.
Yeah, I'm not going to like act like it's a big deal,
Yeah, I don't want to live your life. I'm going to do me. I don't know. I'm just hanging. Like, can I give you a scene that pops into my head?
Yes, go ahead.
It's his first day on the job. Hank shows up to an undisclosed site. Like, undisclosed, obviously, it's given to Hank. It's like GPS coordinates, and it's like his first training day.
Yeah.
And when he gets there, there is a postmaster. She is wielding the Lightbringer gauntlets. She is beating back demons, and Hank is like, great. So he has his earbuds on. He's checking his phone while she is battling demons. So he is not watching.
Instead of like the Doom soundtrack, it's just Dolly Parton playing or something.
Jolene. While she's like battling. And he's like, God, where's my trainer? I'm supposed to learn how to do this fucking job. Damn. And then this woman appears before him and is like, Hank, bright dawn. Thank God you're here. I don't have much time left. And he's like, do you have to clock out soon? And then she's like wounded and is like, here, take these. You're the only one who can deliver these packages and do what needs to be done to Victor Daemon. And he's like, cool, deliver package to he's half listening. Cool, deliver package to Victor Daemon. Good, got it. Gets the gloves, is imbued with power. She fades away. And then he's like, all right, cool. Just drives up to Victor Daemon's house and is like, hello, yeah, I'm doing what needs to be done. Hey, here's your like bathrobe that you delivered. Yeah.
Well, I just imagine like, this isn't what I ordered, but I like it. So cool. Where'd you say you worked for again?
There's just a ton. He's basically the Doom guy. So there's just corpses everywhere in his wake. And he's like, yeah, like all your friends tried to beat me up and like I really didn't appreciate it. I didn't like what I had to do, but I did what had to be done. Anyway, have a great day. Leaves, goes home. Then after that, Victor Daemon was like, interesting. Now I have a question.
Yeah.
What is Hank Bright Dawn's weakness?
Hank Bright Dawn's
like, can anything stop him or no? Is he is a juggernaut of divine power and nothing can stop this train?
My first thought is, well, besides like the common cold.
Of course. Yeah. I mean, calling out sick. Hank calling out sick with a conflict from his kids. Parent-teacher conferences are the only thing that can stop it. Like, obligations to his family are the only things that can stop Hank Bright Dawn. My daughter has a play. Sorry, Mr. Daemon. I won't be able to deliver your package. Please forgive me. There's nothing. So basically, he has no weakness except being a great dad. It's what empowers him. The Lightbringer gauntlets, he is convinced sometimes that he's like, man, I swear, the only thing getting me through these fights is the love of my children. It's like, no, dude, you have magic fucking gloves.
I imagine one day he gets like almost there, but then he gets a call from, his daughter.
Yep.
And he just he just hands it to one of the like Medusa heads and is like, hey, can you sign for this? I gotta go.
I'm sorry, I gotta go. I can't reach Victor Daemon. Can you sign for this? Puts the pen in the Medusa head's mouth. And the Medusa head just like scribbles something. And he pushes it off and it floats away. And he's like, just gets in his car and goes home. Like, they think he's there. Okay. Do the henchmen know why he's there? Do they know why this is happening? Or do they think that Simon Belmont is there to like kill Victor Daemon and they're protecting their boss?
So I think Victor never told anyone. I think Ben figured it out.
Okay.
But he was never able to fully explain it to everyone else.
Got it.
So we've got two people who understand. One who doesn't care and one who's desperately trying to break the cycle.
Got it. I like that a lot. Let's see. What else can we talk about with the big guy? I mean, honestly, I feel like we know Hank really well. Like, I feel like we're in a really good place with Mr. Bright Tower.
Yeah, Mr. Bright Dawn, right?
Bright Dawn. Whoops, Mr. Bright Tower. With Bright Tower is Mr. Bright Tower is my father's name. Call me Hank.
God, that parent-teacher conference. Just imagine that, though, Miss.
Fucking sitting there in the gym.
Having to address someone as Mr. Bright Dawn, please.
Mr. Bright Dawn. Excuse me, is the father of Cynthia Bright Dawn here? Yeah, that's me. Your daughter is doing incredible in class. I just wanted to give you really big congratulations on raising such a wonderful person. I appreciate that. Just this, he's like, I imagine Hank is like, he doesn't look like a normal person. You know, like do you know how Gears of War people look? Like, imagine that next to a normal human being. We were like, good God, you're huge. And he's like,
he's just a fridge of a man.
And he's like, I am. And they're like, yeah, he has no idea how fucking juiced up he looks, how powerful he is. They're like, wow, you're in really great shape. And he's like, I don't know, I don't work out. I kind of just fucking look like this.
Yeah, he just like you had mentioned workout earlier. I just imagine he was like my dad was when I was a kid. It's like, 2 half-hour sessions of the Tybo VHS tapes a week.
Yep, and he thinks that's the secret, is being an absolute unit, is just, I don't know, I do my daily, he does that, that really amazing thing that some elderly people do where they walk and they just swing their arms as they walk?
Yes.
He wakes up at 5 a.m. and takes a long walk, and he does like calisthenics, and he goes, that's my secret. And like you almost hear the souls of these like departed goblins being like, for fuck's sake, it's your gloves. Oh my God. It's so frustrating because he thinks that like when he's destroying legions of goblins and stuff, he's like, why can't you leave me alone and let me do my job? And like, you come here every week and do this, man.
Now for his morning walk, I'm imagining he tried Victor Daemon's podcast once and just never mentioned it because he didn't want to be
No, it never aired because it was such bad audio. It was like Victor Daemon was like, I can't post this. This is so bad. Like he said, it was so bad. He was like, so what do you like to do for fun, Hank? Grill. What do you like to grill? Food. Okay. Okay. Let's hear a word from our sponsor. It was just terrible. It was just terrible. Ah, God, I love it.
All right. So before we got into more tangents about Hank, I think you were segueing somewhere by saying we've talked enough about Hank.
Well, I mean, I honestly think we're at a good spot for Hank. I want to ask, what is the source of power for what is the source of power for the Lightbringer gauntlets? A brief history of like, what the hell are these things? Is it a holy order that defies Victor Daemon? Like, fucking type thing, like, the Belmonts and shit like that.
Oh, I like that. So, because I was thinking like powers from outside the Daemon Saloon, outside of Tremaine Bluffs, do work.
Okay.
As with like the fling story I mentioned earlier. But now I'm just imagining the order of people against Victor Daemon. I'm imagining the gauntlet is just part of a fucking exosuit, essentially.
It's only one piece?
That's spread across the multiverse.
Oh my God. Could you imagine? Hank is just a fraction.
Just a fragment.
Of his true potential. If he were to get okay, here's the thing. The reason why the Lightbringer arsenal is scattered across the multiverse, because if one person were to assemble it, they would have enough power to either bring the multiverse together into one or collapse it all.
I love it.
So it's scattered through the multiverse because one person cannot wield this. It's clearly way too much power. And if they could like basically reshape reality to fit their will. And it's too much. And that's why it was scattered. I think one person did wield it at one point. And once someone like, the Avengers basically figured out how to defeat this person, they're like, fuck this. We got to flush all these 5 pieces down the fucking toilet and scatter them to the multiverse.
Absolutely. Because like, I choose to believe that at least one of the pieces is just buried in someone's backyard somewhere here in this universe. Because,
of course. Yeah.
Because Victor Daemon has addressed the fourth wall. So if all the pieces are assembled, I mean, that's us too.
Yeah, absolutely. That means that like there is something in our world, there is a piece they could be right under your nose and you'd never know it. And if you got it, you kind of would never know. Because perhaps they're all pretty simple looking.
Yeah.
Like the Lightbringer gauntlets might just look like, simple little work gloves with like a beautiful lion on them. And so he's like, ooh, got a nice pair of work gloves. And they never wear out. Like, it's great. I've never had to replace them, saving a lot of money. Meanwhile, they're supplying him with godlike power.
I imagine each of these would be the origin for a plot of an entire role-playing adventure.
No question. There is absolutely no question in my mind.
Like the helmet, the socks.
Yep. They are as simple as that, where it's like, the necktie. The necktie of might. Yes, I love it very much.
Yeah, so were they made for Victor Daemon? Because the thing is, Victor Daemon does have godlike powers, but also no powers. But he's just chilling out. So is it one of those scenarios where he was scary in the past? Or is it things like he's just assembling, before he got Hank, he was just assembling mail carriers, so he's doing casually horrifying things like that? Or is it just someone is basically doing the cosmic equivalent of a 1-star Yelp review?
Yes, to all. Yes, I believe that yes to all of that. It is a 1-star Yelp review. It is to defy Victor Daemon. It is, if it's the multiverse, that means people have been using them for different purposes based on what universe they're in, based on their needs.
True.
Because they're all scattered all over the world.
Absolutely, yeah.
So like, if the person who used them in like the Dark Ages is buried in my fucking courtyard in my apartment in Brooklyn, that just means like, I don't know, they fought in New York at one point, or like, I don't know, he just died holding the fucking socks of might, but it depends. But I do think that I kind of just like the silliness of these things being, these are the things that can defy Victor Daemon's power because he's pretty fucking strong.
Yeah, absolutely.
But they're rarely used for the purpose of trying to kill Victor Daemon. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. It's like, for example, let's say we have, because we've got the Gauntlet of Light. So you said Socks of Might, right?
Gauntlet of Light, Lightbringer's Gauntlet, the Socks of Might, the necktie of the Graviton necktie.
Ooh, that's a good one. See, because the reason I say that is because I'm imagining like the person who gets the socks is just wearing them because they never get wet.
Yes.
Which is just a side effect of their cosmic power.
Of course. They're perfect.
But just like my favorite pair of socks, they never get wet. I hate when my shoes get wet.
They feel amazing.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, the best thing about the Socks of Might is kind of just that they're really good. Like I would, like right now, I'm wearing what do you call, like wool hiking socks.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Like, and they never get wet, and they rarely stink. Things like that. I'm like, God, these things are fucking cosmic. They're so wonderful.
They keep you warm unless it's too hot outside, in which case they breathe wonderfully.
Yes. And so, like, yeah, I could imagine me thinking, like, I might have the Socks of Might on right fucking now and never know it. That is my logic here, personally.
That's amazing. Everyone, like, half of these are people just living their lives.
I like that a lot. It lends itself to the story trope of, like, ordinary people wielding incredible power. But, like, they are and just don't know it.
Yeah, it is incredibly rare for someone to actually use these to become a hero or a cosmic villain.
Completely. Yeah, it just doesn't happen. It's so rare. I love there are so many Hanks out there, and maybe throughout the we said at the beginning that Victor Daemon is pulling mail carriers through the multiverse. Perhaps this happens often. It's not just Hank. It is all of the people who wield all of the mail carriers throughout the multiverse who are wielding this show up to his house and wreck shit.
So I was thinking about that, but inverted a little bit. Instead of just mail carriers, Victor Daemon is assembling each of the pieces of this magnificent suit of armor, but instead of assembling them for different purposes, he is just basically assembling different people with different jobs. Like,
yes,
the glasses of true sight or whatever is being used by a pizza delivery driver who can always drive super fast and safe because they can see where the road is going.
Yes.
So he uses that person when he's, I'm really hankering for a pizza. I want a churro real badly right now.
Love it.
They're just his food delivery driver.
I think that is fantastic. Ordinary people are basically, it is like the Avengers before the movie started, where they're just separate entities, like existing and doing incredible things. So I'm a big fan.
Their Avengers moment is when Victor is actually holding like a big cosmic party that he needs like catering and food for. That's their Avengers moment.
Love it. I love it very much. I love this entire cinematic universe that's been created around in the true spirit of All My Fantasy Children. This incredible universe has been created around Wrong Mailman and Final Dad.
And it's one that like this podcast big campaigns will only touch tangentially on.
Of course, that is the true spirit of the fucking All My Fantasy Children, where this never comes up again.
A world beyond what we will spend 8 years building, so much bigger in this one episode, and you were here to experience it.
You're goddamn right.
I think since we've been segueing to talking about how this is like All My Fantasy Children, I'm good wrapping it up here and talking a little bit about that show, unless you have.
No, I feel it's a great place to. Close is on our multiverse being wrapped up. We tied up all our loose ends. Feel really good about where we're at, and that's when you go. That's a wrap on that. That's a wrap on Hank Bright Dawn.
Hank Bright Dawn.
Damn.
But if folks don't want to wait a year to hear your voice again as Victor Daemon, and if they want more of this character creation, world building stuff, where can they experience more of that?
Yeah, I host a character creation podcast that we've been talking about a lot. It's a world building podcast. It's improvisational that I host with Jeff Stormer. Called All My Fantasy Children. You can find us on the One Shot Podcast Network. You can find us on Twitter at AMFC_podcast. So go to oneshotpodcast.com and check us out there. You can find us on every hosting platform available. But yeah, we pretty much do what we did today, where we take a listener submitted prompt, spin it into an original fantasy concept or character or weapon or detail, and we use that to populate an entire fantasy world that over the course of 5 years, we have called fantasy, and it's got its own mythology, its lore, its magic system, all that we kind of make up on the spot. It's been a hoot. And I love it very much. Clearly, it's so fun and you end up kind of with like dope shit because I've always found that like you're so relaxed doing it in this style where you're just like flinging whatever like sticks at the wall. You don't have inhibitions and you're not trying to make something cool. And so things are kind of coming organically that are like, whoa, that actually is kind of dope.
Yeah.
Like Hank at the end, we're like, okay, Hank's a pretty cool character actually. And I love it. So yeah. If you like what you heard, check out All My Fantasy Children. And yeah, listen in and and I'll hang out in your ears.
Just like Victor wanted to.
Just as Victor intended.
Well, yeah, thanks so much for joining us, Aaron. Yeah, if you really like that, feel free to check that out. I'll have a link to All My Fantasy Children in the description. It is incredibly good show, and Aaron is right. They naturally get to some very cool places. I've listened to a fair few episodes, and I was just like, every time I was like, wow, they make real cool stuff. I'm curious how we're going to get there.
Yeah, and we did. Love it.
And then, of course, if you enjoyed Victor Daemon, we've got 2 episodes already of him causing problems, and we'll have another one in a year.
Dang.
But I hope you hang out the rest of the year too. And you're on our podcast feed. I'm going to cut all this because if you're on our podcast feed, you already listen to Quest Friends. So like keep doing that, but go listen to All My Fantasy Children, which you might not do if you're listening to this feed. And you should.
You should. It's true. It's no lie there.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Aaron. I usually end Quest Friends episodes on a cliffhanger, and I think I've figured it out since I've already mentioned what I think our next Halloween special is going to be. We see the gate closing as the goblins scream in the background. Hank opens up the garage door, just the old open up. He takes the Lightbringer gauntlet, throws it to the side, opens the door to the house. Hugs his spouse, gives him a kiss. The kids aren't home yet. He goes, grabs some cosmic hell kibble for the dog, for Helio. And as he does all that, he sits down, takes out his earbuds as his spouse is like, oh, how was your day? And he says, oh, it was pretty good, but feeling a bit more tired than usual. And his nose sniffles as a little bit of cold, like dew emerges from the bottom of his nose. And that is our cliffhanger.
Dang.
See you next year.